So if you're in a state of loneliness, that doesn't mean we have to now finish out this loneliness before we go to a next level. Or, we have to stay in this loneliness and feel it for hours and days and weeks. No, when you become aware of it, you gain leverage to change it. So we're talking about feeling lonely. All right. So that actually would be in the category of feeling sad. All right. And maybe there's a moment where you feel a sense of heaviness and weakness. Okay. There's a sense of heaviness or weakness that you're experiencing bodily. Okay. That's playing a role in the loneliness that you feel in the moment. And I mean, there can be some times where loneliness kind of just hits you, but remember, there's nothing that's really random that happens to us. So before you like, hey, but I always feel lonely and it always happens at the most random of times, I want you to just stay curious enough because there's a beginning to that feeling before we actually feel maybe the intensity of it. It's not random. It's not random. There was something that you felt, something you saw, something you experienced that reminded you of your current situation that then led you to feeling lonely. Let's investigate that. Let's not just leave it there. I'm lonely today. Let's not leave it there. Let's investigate it. Why? What what story, what experience, what happened that led us to feel like this? Because loneliness is a state that we can actually change. And if I were to paint this to y'all, I'm gonna bring out my whiteboard for a second because this could actually be really good. This is something that you actually will get a lot out of in deeper detail in my program. Send me a message with Secure. I would love to get you started on them. Specifically, Secure program designed to get you from anxious or avoidant attachment to secure attachment. Okay, because a lot of you could benefit from that, especially after conversations like this. Because if you notice, a lot of the addictive loops that people find themselves in, oftentimes is because you can't tell the difference between things. Your anxiety is all high, your anxious attachment is screaming. Okay. And so, what better way to solve that and satisfy that than to get on a dating app and keep connecting from your attachment wound instead of coming from a place of security? It's actually what's reproducing the pain, not helping you through it. Okay. But I want to give you this picture really quickly. All right. Because when we talk about your state, we just talk about your state of being, how you're living, where you are right now. Okay. And with this state of being, something that I've been putting into practice more and more, okay, all right, is there is now, I say awareness, but I'm going to switch it up for a bit on this one. We're going to say focus, all right, mind, body, and heart. Okay, this is kind of a simplistic way or a more practical way, okay, to digest some of our emotions. Hopefully, you guys can see this over on TikTok. All right. Hopefully, it looks forward. All right. Let me make sure it's kind of seen here on the screen. All right, y'all see this? All right, I want to paint this to y'all. This is gonna make sense. Okay, so when we talk about a state, loneliness is a state. Okay, loneliness is a state of being. This is affecting your posture. This is affecting your mind. It's affecting your emotions. It's a state that you're in, and as long as we gain some level of awareness of it, it actually is what's going to change the game. Okay, so when we say awareness, we're just saying focus. Because oftentimes, in order to get to a specific state, just like you can get to a state of happiness, joy, abundance, love, okay, courage, just like you can get to those kind of states, it all is depending on, hey, what are you focusing on? What are you seeing? Not just necessarily what you're seeing, because we don't want to lie to ourselves. The reality is the reality. But what am I focusing on within that reality? And what is it creating? Okay. So then with that focus, we then have a mind, which is our story. All right. This is where the stories live, the stories that we'll repeat, the meanings that we'll give to the experience. And then we have our body, which is the body posture. Okay. Science tells us 90 seconds is roughly a good testing time. When something happens, your body responds. Takes maybe 90 seconds for your body to actually adjust and get used to it. Okay. For some of you, again, it's not to say it didn't happen within 90 seconds, but it might take you a little longer to realize it. It's cool. You're not defying science. All right. But your body is initially going to respond to a specific moment when something happens to it. So let's say when a breakup occurs, right? There's a reason why when the message is sent, your first response isn't immediate tears because you're literally still trying to process the fact that this person is saying they no longer want to be with you. You're still trying to process it. So that's why all the questions start flying. What? What do you mean? What happened? What's going on? Right? And your body is literally trying to catch up and process with your brain with what you just heard. And it's unsettling. Okay. But it's all affecting your posture. And then when we talk about your heart, we're just talking about the emotions that flow. Okay. We're talking about the feelings that flow. And when we are able to locate these things, we now are able to actually change the state that we're in. So if you're in a state of loneliness, that doesn't mean we have to now finish out this loneliness before we go to a next level. Or, we have to stay in this loneliness and feel it for hours and days and weeks. No, when you become aware of it, you gain leverage to change it. So instead of being lonely, okay, let's just say that was loneliness. Your state was loneliness. Okay. And I'll actually write it in here. All right. So your state was lonely. Okay. Well, there was something you were focusing on that produced the loneliness. Okay. There were some stories that were being curated that produced the loneliness. Okay. Then that also produced later on the body response, the emotions and feelings. So it's not random. So if we can become aware of that and press in, now we're asking ourselves, okay, cool. Now that I become aware of that and I see what it is and I'm attaching a different story to it, doesn't mean I'm not enough. Doesn't mean I can't find the right person. All right. Now, instead of feeling lonely, I can get to a body posture of joy. Okay. Maybe it's not joy. Maybe it's abundance. It's one of my favorite words. All right. Well, what has to be true? What do I have to focus on in order to create this state of abundance? What stories do I have to cultivate in my mind? What meanings do I have to attribute to the experiences I'm having in order to create this abundance? What feelings and emotions need to be present? How does my body need to respond? Instead of hunched over, leaned over, faces down to the floor, carrying this sense of heaviness and weakness, I can shake my body out. I can lift my head. I can flash a smile. I can roll my shoulders back, do some jumping jacks. Okay, whatever it is, because now I'm able to actively change the state. That's kind of what we're engaging in when we're talking about this idea. Hey, like, don't get on the app lonely. And if you notice yourself being lonely and you noticed it as you were getting on the app, cool. Doesn't mean you're a failure. You caught it. Good. Now let's investigate it. Man, why am I feeling so lonely right now? It's 11 p.m. My phone is dry and I'm begging for somebody to talk to. And if I investigate that long enough, I might find out, you know what? It's just been a long day and I'm really tired because I ain't even going to keep up the conversation tonight. I need to go to bed. Or maybe it's like, man, it's like 1, 2 in the morning and I'm on here swiping and I'm just feeling some type of way as I'm doing that. Okay. Because there's a way you can engage in the swiping at this time of night and loneliness isn't attached. It doesn't always have to mean you're lonely when you're on there late at night. It doesn't. Okay. For me currently, like using the apps, man, like my best time of using them is really in the evening because that's the time I actually have to be able to be in my own space from doing some work and all the things. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're always lonely. But if you do feel that sense of heaviness and weakness within your body, which are bodily responses to loneliness, okay, let's investigate that. Let's not just leave it there. And if you choose to leave it there, realize that you're making that choice. We're practicing actively self awareness. Okay. Put one in the chat if that made sense. I don't want to lose you. I'm simply bringing that to you because just like we can acknowledge loneliness as a state, we can change it too. So it's not something we have to stay in or we feel we have to, ride out. Once we become aware of that state of loneliness, we do have the ability to change it. And that's where the ownership and abundance and self awareness comes into play. Okay. If you're, replace lonely with anxiety and anxious. Replace lonely with, feeling angry. Okay? Feeling angry, feeling sad, all right? Feeling disgusted. None of it's random, but we do want to catch it. All right? We do want to catch it because then it gives us the ability to get ahead of it. Okay? So here that's the rule number 1, right? Don't go on there lonely. Don't swipe when you're lonely. Some of y'all are making the worst decisions because you're lonely. You're matching with the worst kind of people and starting conversations with people you don't even want to talk to because you're lonely. Some of y'all are creating the worst connections out of loneliness. And it's awful. Yeah, man. Shout out to Kyrie Irving. All right.
Hey you, so glad that you made it to the end of the video. Okay, if you want to know more of the context behind what was shared in this video, be sure to click here, okay, because that's going to be actually the stream replay as part of our recent series or conversation that we shared live with our audience. Be sure to check those out. We go live weekly across all platforms. And also, if you want to know the deeper meaning behind all that was shared and really the biggest goal of getting you to a place of security to let go of anxious attachment, but more importantly, to learn why you keep losing yourself in the midst of relationships, because it's a lot simpler than you think. It's going to be explained in one video to get you the results you need right then and there. Explains everything. Be sure to click here, okay, for this video. All right, and I hope to see you over there. Peace.